Let's go east across the country to Pittsburgh, where the Monongahela and the Allegheny River join. That's where Pittsburgh was born 200 years ago.
The Steel City. The city of bridges. I mean, look at this place. Everything American, everywhere steel. Abandoned buildings, sure. Every Midwest city that boomed in the early 20th century has them. But more importantly, a community vibrant with revitalization. The spirit of I'll do it myself is everywhere.
You're looking at what Pittsburghers call the Point, the area where the rivers join to form a triangle. The Golden Triangle, they called it, squeezed between two rivers. Squeeze is the word, all right. This typifies downtown Pittsburgh as it was 10 years ago. A maze of streets, no wider than when the city was a frontier town.
I'm Jay Mays, and this is SEARED. Amazing food, remarkable people. Pittsburgh could be called the muscle that made America. Iron production during the Civil War, then steel production that ultimately built the high-rises and factories of industrial-era cities like Chicago, Detroit, and New York. While steel production has fallen off the proverbial cliff, so much so that there isn't a single steel mill within city limits, the industries of healthcare, education, and technology have grown substantially. They are Chef Blair's current customers. Blair Hohn, call him Chef, is as Pittsburgh as one can get. A hard worker, his restaurant Salt is in a warehouse, naturally. His food is fine dining for the blue-collar worker, again, naturally. Deliciousness for that deserving force of American ingenuity and production.
So I typically do the pasta the day before, get it all portioned out, and then day of service, I just drop it in the water as customers come in. And so basically my lunch service is, I call it fine dining fast food.
Right.
Everything's kind of ready, buffet style, and I kind of serve it as my customers come in. Mm-hmm. That way, I mean, if you're waiting 5 minutes, you know, that's like pretty much the average wait time.
Starting the day off with homemade pasta? Yes, please. But before that dough is kneaded, rolled, or dropped, fresh ingredients are a must. Chef and I headed to Pittsburgh's Strip District. Today we start at Stamoolis.
Where are we going to first, Chef?
This is where I get my extra virgin olive oil, which I do on my chimichurris, pestos, and garnishing with. And so like I said, I try to support local as much as I can and kind of go from there.
Pittsburgh's Strip District. The place in Pittsburgh one goes if they want almost any high-quality imported or locally produced goods.
A little more specialty here. Next door has a little bit more variety, so I kind of try to hit both of them. Greek olive oil I use. It's a small product out of Greece. I like it because it's just more fruity. Doesn't really have that real strong peppery kind of finish or bitterness, and it kind of goes good with everything I do, so.
Alongside the Allegheny River, a public market dense with shops whose history stretches into at least the early 20th century. Meats, cheeses, pitas, cheeses, spices, cheeses, honey, and did I say cheeses?
What's this here?
Yeah, that's their sharp provolone.
Sharp provolone. All right, I'm gonna try some.
Yeah, good. That's me? All right, thank you guys.
Good. That's really good. I can see why
Yeah,
you
I like
use
grating
that.
it on pasta, almost like a Parmesan, but it kind of is a little bit more sharper.
Is that this here?
Yep. Yeah, that's the same one.
That's the same one. Wow.
Yep.
So what do you got there?
The sheep milk feta. So they got,
Sheep milk feta.
you can see all the different types of fetas they got to offer. A lot of people don't like feta. I got this one because it's real mild. It's almost sweet and creamy. These guys are the ones that are more knowledgeable, so I always, ask them,
Ask
what their
them,
opinion is and kind of.
What's your most popular cheese out of the fetas?
I would say the Greek, and it can vary. The sheep smoke's very popular.
Yeah.
The barrel
Yeah.
is a little bit stronger, sharper. That's popular also.
Thank you guys.
Thank you. All right, where to next, chef?
So this is PennMac. They've been around forever. This is where I get most of my cheeses. The local bread company does deliver the bread here, so if I do get in a jam, but they usually help me out.
So what are we here for today?
Cheese again.
Cheese again. All right, specific cheese?
So I kind of just like to taste things and kind of go from there and kind of get their suggestions.
PennMac, the Pennsylvania Macaroni Company, founded in 1902. What started as a pasta manufacturing company has been transformed into a retail home full of cheeses, spices, olive oils, meats. I said cheeses, right? Cheeses.
Like I said, these guys are all knowledgeable, so it's like, I come in like, this is what I need, this is what I'm doing.
Yep.
To actually help me a lot with my mac and cheese. I'm like, well, you guys got 1,000 different cheeses here. This is what I'm looking for, and they kind of pair it from there. So I do Locatelli Romano, which is my favorite Romano cheese. I put that in my Alfredo, my lasagnas, my sprinkling cheese. Yeah, on Christmas, it's a 2-hour wait here. So
2-hour wait?
Yep, it's crazy down here. So I never try to come around Christmas or any major holidays.
Cheese makes an excellent gift, though. I think that's universal.
Yep.
I love that.
I think we'll get some of this raw milk cheddar.
Raw milk cheddar. Sounds good. All right, thank you.
I mean, that's one of the best cheeses in the world.
Wow.
You mostly Italian stuff.
I do a mix of everything. Italian for like my lasagnas and stuff, but then I started.
Go for it.
That's amazing.
It looks like something new.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound good. Absolutely. Chef Noir.
I go by the ones that look nice. That's usually my.
Okay. Looks on.
Let's do a little one of that.
Oh wow. I could buy like a half pound of that one, or I'll just take whatever that last bit is. Cool. I think that should do us for today. Sounds good.
Thank you
I'll
very
be
much.
in touch with you
Appreciate
guys.
it. Thank you.
All right,
Take care.
But I feature their ice cream. He makes custom flavors just for my shop, so I'm here to pick up some ice cream.
That's great.
That's why I'm here. The best ice cream in the city.
Yes.
All right.
Take care.
With our cheese bound in cloth and paper, we carried on down the Strip District, a little further to another bastion of cold, delicious dairy. This time in the form of ice cream at Clavon's Ice Cream Parlor.
He redid this to like an old ice cream parlor.
Yeah, I love it.
Oh, here he is right here. How's it going, man?
Hey, how you doing?
This is Jacob, the owner.
Jay, nice to meet you.
Ah, ice cream. Like so much in Pittsburgh, Clavon's is housed in a building whose construction dates back to the late 19th century. This was Pittsburgh's transition from ironworks to steelworks. Surviving floods, wars, economic downturns, and more, the Clavon's building stands sturdily in the Strip District. A monument to perseverance. One could argue Pittsburgh's primary trait.
St. Patrick's Day of 1936.
Yeah.
The water got that high, so Ray shimmied up and escaped through the window. He got trapped here.
Oh my God.
So what happened? The water poured in so fast he couldn't get out through here, so
Sure.
he had to swim up, and then a rowboat saved his life as it was coming by.
And that's that.
And
On
that's
St.
what-
Patrick's Day, that's that story
Yes,
with him and
yes,
Beth.
And part of pharmacopoeia back then was to mix medicine with ice cream so that we can eat it more, because in the medicine would taste disgusting.
Sure.
Neighborhood apothecary? Great, I'll take my meds with ice cream any day. And wow, the ice cream was stellar.
Did you know of the place before you bought it? Like did you come here a lot?
We'd come here, and the
Okay.
kids really liked it.
Yeah.
This place came up for sale,
Yeah.
and there was another person bidding. They were from New York, and they were going to gut this place. They were totally trash it. So
Right.
we couldn't let that happen.
How did you find Clavon?
And I've been just looking for a good ice cream made in the city, and I wasn't happy with the ones I was finding. And originally I knew Penn State ice cream was here. I was like, I don't want Penn State. I want something, closer to home.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, they make it in-house now. So I ended up stopping in. I got a scoop of the mocha and the mint chocolate chip. And I was on the phone the next day, be like, I want your ice cream. And he kind of just helped me out. He bought a cooler, and then he does custom flavors just for my shops. It's a nice little partnership we got going. And it's like literally, it's the best ice cream I've ever had. So.
Yeah.
Paleontologist Dr. Matthew LaManna is another hardworking as hell person from Pittsburgh. I had the pleasure of sitting down with him at a restaurant named Legume. He immediately struck me as the type of person I like to be around. No facade, just raw honesty.
I get asked a lot of times, by young people of various ages, sometimes 5 years old, sometimes 15, sometimes 25, whatever.
Yeah.
How do I do what you do?
Yeah.
And the number one thing for me is I'm pretty smart, but I'm not the smartest person in my field. I'm not the smartest person I know.
Right.
I am the hardest worker I know.
Matt's not bragging here. He qualifies his statement later, yeah, but the key point is that brilliant but lazy doesn't get you anywhere. Hard work, however, will take you far. Antarctica, Egypt, and beyond.
When we talked briefly about your interest in dinosaurs as a kid.
Yeah.
And because you basically took your childhood dreams and you're like, I'm gonna do that and make an impact in that field for the rest of my life.
Well, honestly, I can't remember when I first got interested in dinosaurs,
Yeah.
and that's because I was a really little kid, apparently.
Right.
To be completely honest,
Yeah.
I think some people say this and they're maybe being slightly tongue-in-cheek. I am not being tongue-in-cheek when
Yeah.
I say this. I do not remember wanting to be anything else. Except, I will say this,
Yeah.
I'm a big football fan as well.
Yeah.
My dream actually when I was a little tiny kid was to be the world's first combined NFL running back / paleontologist.
I like
so,
that.
Yeah.
Sadly, Matt didn't realize his NFL dreams. Dinosaurs will have to do. As a curator at the Carnegie Museum of Natural History, Matt is one of the fortunate few who has successfully aligned his passion with profession. His museum, beautiful. The dinosaurs, stunning. His discoveries, world-renowned.
would say probably the reason we're having this conversation, so in other words, the reason I'm here in Pittsburgh,
Right.
is that when I was in grad school, me and some other grad students and colleagues of ours, and my graduate advisor, made a discovery that I would say was maybe one of the luckier ones in the history of paleontology. When I was a kid, like growing up in upstate New York with my dinosaur books, I would open up, some of the more detailed of these books would contain accounts of this story about how, Stromer had found and described this amazing dinosaur Spinosaurus, but then it had been blown up in World War II, and that it didn't physically exist anymore. It
Right.
existed only as Stromer's description
Right.
of the fossil, and also the illustrations that he had published of it. So
Sure.
in essence, this fossil existed only as pictures in books.
Yeah.
And so when I was a grad student, I made this sort of dream list, this like list of like, if I could go anywhere in the world, where would I go? And one of the places that rose to the top was Bahariya Oasis of Egypt, because not only did we have the chance to find new things, we had a chance to uncover these dinosaurs that Stromer had found, to basically replace them, to
Right.
restore Stromer's legacy, the legacy of these lost dinosaurs of Egypt.
Legume, a now defunct restaurant in the North Oakland neighborhood near Pittsburgh University. Legume is not Chef Blair's restaurant. His restaurant is Salt. We will revisit Salt, which is definitely open later in the episode. Not even COVID-19 can keep Salt down. Let's talk about this grass-fed beef tartare, though. In the hands of a master chef, raw, chopped beef tartare, is delectable. When it's done well, it's a treat. Look at this beauty. With the right blend of sweet shallots, salty capers, herbs, blush onion, and perhaps a dash of hot sauce or some chopped Iberian pepper, whoa, it's amazing. Back to digging in the Bahariya Oasis.
My walkie-talkie crackles, and it's Josh or Jason, I don't remember which.
Yeah.
But whoever it is says something to the effect of, "You need to get over here right now," and there's probably an expletive thrown in there,
Right.
For good measure. And so I get in and I don't know what's happening, but I get in the Land Cruiser that I had, and I drive over, and it takes a couple of minutes.
Sure.
And I get out, and what's happened is that Josh and Jason had continued to work on these quote-unquote small bones,
Right.
and realized that they had cleaned the rock off that was intervening between the two small bones,
Sure.
and realized that they had been working on opposite sides of a single gigantic bone.
Wow.
And what this was the upper end of the upper arm bone, so the humerus bone, the bone between the shoulder and the elbow,
Yep.
of a dinosaur that we knew right then and there was one of the biggest that had ever been discovered. That discovery was the discovery that kind of made me go from somebody who was totally nobody to somebody who was a little less nobody. And I think that caught the attention of some people at the Carnegie Museum. And so when they opened up their job for their dinosaur curator 3 years later, by coincidence, I happened to be finishing my PhD around that time, and I think people, the Paralititan discovery was one of the things that I think got me an interview, and I must have done good enough to, to pass the test, and here we are 15 years later. So I've been at the Carnegie ever since.
What a beautiful location with its massive displays. I yearn to once again stand alone in front of those two great Tyrannosaurus rexes.
So all pasta's made in-house, obviously.
Back at Salt, Chef Blair shows us his process for creating high-quality food at hard-to-believe reasonable prices. I still don't know how he does it. The restaurant is closed today, but on his rare day off, Chef Blair is here, showing us just how hard he works.
Same with most of the things I do. Everything's made in-house, other than like my breads and cheeses, obviously.
Right.
So this is like my neutral pasta base. I got whole eggs in it, water, the Greek extra virgin olive oil that we're talking about, and flour, obviously. Just the regular all-purpose flour, nothing. That way it's kind of like a neutral flavor. That way the sauce kind of stands out. You want to get the right consistency of moisture. That was my hardest thing, because when it's moist, it kind of rolls nice and easy.
Yeah.
But then it don't cut. Everything wants to bunch together.
Yep. When
it's too dry, it's just crumbly and it doesn't want to hold together.
Yeah.
So I found is I get a nice medium, and then as I'm putting it through, I get more and more flour to like the final step, and then it's almost perfect. So it's kind of just ironing up and feeling each step as you go.
Yeah. So you're keeping an eye on the dough just through touch, through feel. Yeah, I think you do it right though. This is handmade pasta.
That way, I can serve it as cheap as I can. That way, the only labor going into it is kind of my labor. And you notice when I'm flouring, I like to get an even dusting. You don't really want to clamp it, then you're going to get a big wad of flour on your dough. So a little light dusting and
spread it
around. And you can see the pasta's nice and dry now. But once you cut it, that's when it starts to kind of want to stick together.
Okay. Wow, look at that.
I'm trying to kind of grab in the middle, that way the uneven pieces kind of just, because they're not going to cook
Sure. Just get those out of there.
Water's boiling, so about a minute or so.
All right.
In the meantime, we'll bust out these
tater tots.
Tater tots.
All right.
So obviously everyone loves tater tots.
Yeah.
Tater tots. From pasta to tater tots. Whew, rich. My stomach was already pretty excited at this point. But Chef's go-go-go attitude kept me focused on the cooking instead of dreaming about the result.
So basically what I do, I take the whole Idaho baked potato or russet potato, cover them completely with water, and you're gonna cook them until they're about 50 to 75% done. Soft on the outside, a little basically raw in the middle. Pierce it, once I feel a little bit of resistance,
then you're good.
Then I run them under cold water, cool them down, and literally just take a spoon and you just peel the skins off. You can kind of see where the half-cooked stuff is a shred, and then the cooked stuff kind of holds everything together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then what I also do, I weigh the potatoes and I add 1% salt.
Okay.
So it's basically the math formula. It's 1,200 grams.
Yep.
Potatoes, 12 grams of salt.
Right.
So 1% is kind of like my running number whenever I do like burgers, 1%. Salt, 1%. Some of my roasts, I get up like corned beef, 1.25%. So you always want to start light. That way you can always add more salt. If you add too much, you kind of really no way to fix it.
Absolutely. Do you always roll by hand, or you said you have your sausage maker?
I have a sausage maker because they look bigger.
Yeah.
If you do small, they're going to look like the frozen tater tots. That way, big ones, everyone just loves them. Yeah, so we'll taste some of these meats that I do.
Perfect.
some of the cheeses we just got.
What do we have here?
So all these are my prosciutto, my capicola. So this started with my my cousin, the Pizzutos. His grandpap came from Calabria, Italy, brought this salami recipe with him.
Yep.
So I do a low, slow ferment. So basically I just let Mother Nature kind of dictate. So this is the typical spicy salami. It's like kind of almost like a pepperoni.
Yep.
I do a curry version, which sounds strange, but this is one of my most popular ones.
Okay.
And then this one is after I cure it, I cold smoke it for a few hours. You're gonna taste the cold smoke.
All right, give it a shot.
This one here is a more hand cut. You see the bigger pieces of fat. And these ones, I just kind of go through my grinder and kind of do it a little leaner. And this is from one of the pigs. This is the copa or the money muscle I was talking about. So anytime I do my pulled pork, I cut that money muscle off and I either do a capicola, which is a cooked ham, or I dry cure it. And this is one of my spicy ones. You can see obviously how much marbling. It's like the perfect meat to fat ratio. And then the Berkshire, a little bit nicer fat content to it.
Yep.
This one here is my spicy capicola. Like I said, this is where we all started. If you guys want to try a little bit.
Wow.
Thought mild, the spices come through.
Yeah.
So typically,
you do really
like
taste
Genoa
the spices.
salami, you get that tang or the pepperoni. That's what I try to stay away from.
That's good.
Mine's low and slow. It'll take 5 or 6 days for the actual fermentation or curing process. So really pay attention to the actual pH when I get them. If I get meats that are too high on the pH, I don't use them for salami.
Chef Blair's capicola and the rest of the meats are incredible. What perfectly pairs with house-cured meats? The cheeses from Stamoolis and PennMac, aged Gouda, smoked raw cow's milk cheddar, chèvre.
I kind of, like I said, I try to kind of go with some milder cheeses. I don't like nothing crazy to overpower the meat.
And what's meat and cheese without bread?
Now, I use 2 local bread companies. This one is Breadworks. They've been around for a good while. And I use Mediterranean Bakehouse. It's a pretty kind of newer company. All depends on what I'm doing. Almost has a little bit of sourdough notes to it. But I like it because it's crunchy on the outside and nice and soft in the middle. And then this is their Tuscan. Once again, it's a little tighter crumb.
Outside, it may have been a mild day, but the kitchen was hot. Of course, Chef Blair took the time to feed us. He's that kind of guy. We took a break before boiling the pasta, making a Reuben, and deep frying the tater tots. We have to move fast though, but first, we enjoy the fruits of all of Chef's hard work.
So my marinara is pretty simple. I use a saporita tomato. I basically cook it until it just thickens, add the extra virgin olive oil, salt, a little pinch of sugar just to kind of balance the acidity out, not to make it sweet. Finish with the extra virgin. Puree it till it's nice and smooth. Then I throw fresh basil at the end, and that's it. Let's see here. We got some sunflower seeds that are toasted, so we'll go sunflower today. Like I said, you always want to toast your nuts. These are lightly toasted, nothing crazy, just to bring out the natural flavors. And I kind of like it rough chopped. And I also have basil or garlic in my basil. I always put a little bit of garlic. So basically, that's my dipping oil. Then I just add to it. So whenever I do my Alfredo, it's cream, garlic, I bring that to a boil, turn
Yeah.
off the heat.
Yeah.
Then I whisk in 4 quarts of cream. I do a dozen eggs.
Yep.
That's my thickener.
Yeah.
So it's basically like a carbonara base in a sense.
Sure.
Then I add cheese, and it's finished. So my guests are coming, minute, 2 minutes, depending
Yeah,
how
you can do it fast.
how the line is. But
I mean, that's something important about the way your restaurant is set up is every customer that comes in expects a pretty quick turnaround
Yep.
for their dish, right?
and they're getting fine dining to boot. This literally takes about a minute. Once it floats, it's done. Yeah, if you can look,
Yeah, sure.
it starts to float.
Oh, gotcha.
And you always want to toss your pasta. That way it don't stick together, and I mean, that's all you really need. You don't need a lot of sauce. Obviously, if customers want extra sauce,
Sure.
we can go,
it's
but
available, but
so I want people to try my palate. Like,
Yeah.
you know, cause I'm a picky eater, so I'm like, well, this is how I like to eat. And that way I can kind of get the blue collar guy that don't like fine dining or never been there, like to try
Yeah.
different things.
yeah.
So what I do, all my food's served in takeout containers, paper plates, but I'll do 1 plate up daily and take a picture. That way you kind of get to see what you're eating.
Right.
That way you get the
Makes
plate presentation. This is just my locatelli. I'll just garnish with a little bit of that. What'd that take me? 3 minutes. Yeah, everything in my kitchen, I don't want the $1 million kitchen. I
Sure.
want the bare minimum to prove that you can do it at home. It's like nothing I do is a secret. I
Yeah.
like to teach technique and seasoning.
Yeah.
So everything I do, I educate my customers. Like
Yeah.
my barbecue sauces, yeah, I'm not going to tell but I'm going to teach you how I got there.
Sure.
And kind of put your own spin on things. And so I take the bone out, I
Yeah.
take all the sinew, all the glands out, I
Yeah.
trim it to almost zero fat. So
Yeah.
whenever you're getting the actual sandwich, there's no garbage in it, just
Right.
meat.
It's all the same texture, all the same flavors.
Yep.
All right, so what do we have left? A Reuben to go with those tots? Hell yeah. Home cured corned beef. Before we wrap up, let's hear from Chef about his process.
So obviously I weigh the meat, I'll weigh the spices, salt, 1% plus 0.25 is the curing salt.
Yep.
All my pickling spices, garlic, black pepper, pickling spice, cure #1, and salt obviously. Like I said, the corned beef cooked in its own curing liquid. So this is the Marble Dry from Mediterranean Bakehouse.
Yeah.
I use a baby Swiss. And all my sandwiches I use clarified butter. For my grilled cheeses, anytime I toast up bread.
Yeah. What are we getting, Chef?
This is my Thousand Island. My sauerkraut, roast it in the oven, but I don't wring it out. I just drain it, then I load it up with butter.
Yep.
Pretty good bit of butter until it starts to get golden brown. Yeah, because everyone has a half-hour lunch break. You know, not lucky enough to have an hour, 2 hours, some business guys do. And
Yeah.
since most of my clients are local businesses, and I just had to find a way to speed things up. I like to put cheese on both sides, that way your sandwich don't get soggy.
Yep.
If I open, I already have 10, 20 people in line, that way
Yeah.
I can just kind of bang them out real quick. Yeah, once it's golden brown, it's kind of typical.
Mind if I give that a couple few flips? All right. Let's see if I can do any good here. Probably can't do it as well as you.
So we're about there.
We're about there. Should I
Yep.
put it on top?
Yeah, go for it. Let's pull these breads up. Typically I do about 8 ounces of meat on my sandwiches,
Yeah.
so you're definitely not leaving here hungry.
Wow. That looks phenomenal.
And obviously the bread knife.
Let's take it. Yeah. Crack that open for us. So
the grilled one, I do marble rye. When I do the deli style with the coleslaw, I I use the Jewish fry with seeds in it.
And finally, the tots go in the fryer.
These things fry up pretty nice, and like I said, since they're already salt in the potatoes, you don't got to worry about salting them once they come out.
Yeah.
What you want to do though is you don't want to pull them when they're perfectly golden brown. You want to pull them a couple seconds earlier. So even when like your pan frying things, you always want to pull deep fried things a little bit earlier, and they're gonna just that little second just gonna keep cooking. You can see we're getting pretty close there.
Getting close. How do your guests respond to the bigger top?
Oh, they love them. It's nice. They get a nice crunchy outside and the soft middle, almost like a mashed potato. They just kind of cook perfectly.
How we looking?
We're good.
All right.
Here we are, the end of our week in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. We crushed some homemade pasta, reveled in house-cured meats with some of the world's finest cheeses, adventured among T-Rexes with a paleontologist as our guide, and partook in the unholy smashing of a proper deli Reuben with huge tater tots. Chef Blair had one more special treat in store for us. Some of the best ice cream I've had in my life, ever. From Clavon's, to the deep fryer, to the plate.
Where are you taking them after this?
All right. So basically, Mexican fried ice cream.
Okay.
Chi-Chi's used to do it back in the day. There's no more Chi-Chi's.
Right.
I just remembered as a kid, it was like my favorite thing, so I wanted to kind of relive it.
Okay.
So this is your traditional graham cracker. I use golden grahams as my base. I like the flavor.
Okay.
And this one, I just use Oreos. I just take the cream out of the Oreos, crush it up.
Yeah.
And I actually use the Oreo crumb as my base for the actual dessert. So I do the whole standard breading, flour, egg wash, the graham cracker.
Yep.
Then I go back in the egg wash, like I'll freeze it, go back in the egg wash, and then bread it or crumb it one more time. That way it holds up a little bit better. So literally about 30 seconds in hot oil. That is just the Oreo crumb there.
Yep.
I just take the Oreo with the filling, crush it up, and,
Yep.
and this is just a homemade fluff marshmallow crème. You can get a store-bought.
Sure.
Like I said, I like to do most things in-house.
Yeah.
But then sometimes, like the Oreos, they're perfect, so why mess with perfection? That gives the whole campfire flavor. Graham cracker granola, so I'll just take granola, crush it down, a little butter, cinnamon, brown sugar, toast it in the oven till it gets nice golden brown. A little trick so you don't get the crumb going everywhere, I just cover it.
Okay.
And this is some homemade hot fudge that I make.
Oh man.
I got a couple homemade cinnamon marshmallows I add just for a garnish.
That's art.
Edge of a knife, 70% dark. Kind of just a little bit of shavings. So that's the cinnamon
All
chocolate.
right. Which way should I hold the knife?
You just pinch up on it
Pinch up.
and you're not pushing, you're just kind of
Right.
just scraping.
So perpendicular to the
Yep.
edge. All right. So here.
Yep.
And like this.
Yep.
How's that?
Perfect.
There you go. You do you from there.
And now we eat.
And eat we did. Chef Blair's ice cream-based art was almost too good to be true, almost too good to be eaten. And finally, our paleontologist, Dr. Matthew LaManna, once again had some wise words for us. About that trait represented in every single Pittsburgh resident I had the pleasure of meeting. The embedded attitude of keep going. The trait of perseverance.
I mean, we want to communicate to everyone out there who's watching this, like, the things they're experiencing probably aren't unique, and there's people who have worked through them in a lot of different ways.
Yep.
And we should talk about that.
Yeah, and I think it is fair to say that I've had to work through a fair bit of anxiety to get where I am and things like that, and I like to make that clear to people because it shows them that, you know, I mean, if I can do it, you can too.
Yeah,
and that
some sort of lit pathway.
Exactly. It doesn't have to rule your life. You know, it doesn't, and you know.
Yeah. I mean, you've traveled the world, and travel is anxiety-provoking for some people. You've interacted with a lot of different people, and interacting with a lot of different people is anxiety-provoking to some people. You've taken steps into the void for the sake of your career and the sake of discovery, and that's anxiety-provoking for a lot of people. So just hearing the process of self-awareness and kind of what you go through to achieve that is impressive. It's interesting.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, and I the reason I share that is because I do want people to realize, you know, I know that there are people out there that are fascinated with paleontology, and they, you know, they probably think that none of us, you know, those of us that have quote unquote made it, don't experience these kinds of things, but pretty much all of us do.
All of us do.
And you just, you know, it's never going to be perfect. It's never going to be easy. You know, most of the time it won't be easy. But you know, you power through, you keep going, and you let go of the negative shit.
Yeah, at its finest is damn right. I mean, that is unbelievable. That's an art piece.